Good morning, coffee moaners. Good morning, coffee moaning. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Thursday morning. Oh, we have a cornucopia of horror to discuss. We've got all sorts of stuff to discuss this morning. Every morning, there's just a never-ending Pandora's box of just patently absurd stuff that's just reality, and then we all go wandering around going, oh my god, this is new reality, this is so fucking weird. Anyway, good morning everyone. Morning Cassie R, morning Sarah D, morning Shakir Al Bard, morning to our podcast listeners. A number of people do listen to this on the move. You don't have the joy of seeing us, you don't have the joy of seeing the pictures, but you are there anyway, so welcome. Morning Ellery, morning Country Pumpkin. Just to re-explain, the crowns denote who is a super fan in this live. Nothing to do with us. This is a new thing that YouTube have introduced. Carol Lewis, have you seen this, Mark? The man arrested for carrying a private eye cartoon at Gaza protest. For fuck's sake, things are worsening. Yeah, I mean, you know, unfortunately, I did see that, and it kind of was immediately eclipsed by something else that was awful, namely Israel voting to annex the West Bank. Let's just listen to Starmer and Lammy's response. Maybe it's not in their intro yet. Maybe only everyone else in the country has heard that the Knesset has voted. In principle, it's not legally binding, but hey, since when has legally binding ever bothered Israel? I thought that was quite a funny detail. The Knesset votes in favor to annex the West Bank, not legally binding. Well, they haven't done anything legally binding. They're not bound to anything legal, the Israeli government, are they? At all. It's encouraging, though, to see. Obviously, we're going to be talking about the West Bank potentially being annexed, or let's not. We're amongst friends. I mean, the annexation has started, hasn't it? The annexation is happening. We're going to be talking about Tommy Robinson. We're going to be talking about neo-Nazis, summer of unrest, and they got it in the summer. God, wow, what an unbelievably exciting thing to look forward to. Lots of neo-Nazis arriving at wrong hotels. Couldn't organize a piss up in a brewery. Well, no, probably couldn't, actually. They'd probably probably Google Maps would send them to the wrong place. Nothing is legally binding for the Israelis. Nothing for the Israeli government. Nothing is, which is what makes it so ironic that there's this enormously, they like to think they're enormously powerful, and they are influential, unfortunately, UK lawyers for Israel. Isn't it funny? I don't know, it feels like that, the very concept of UK lawyers for Israel feels like an oxymoron on every conceivable level. You'd have thought that the best placed people to examine and explore the legality or illegality of everything that Israel's doing in Gaza and the West Bank would be UK lawyers for Israel. Maybe they should make that mission. They might be more successful at that than necessarily getting James O'Brien removed from LBC. We're going to be talking about that briefly too, but we're going to be talking about quite seriously, the neo-Nazis preparing for potentially a summer of unrest. We're going to be talking about the Israeli vote to annex the West Bank. I've also got prepare yourself, prepare your stomachs. If you're eating breakfast, you may want to have another bowl alongside the bowl you're eating from, because I don't know what's more repulsive. Benjamin Netanyahu trying to be sort of, you know, strong and leadery and kind of, you know, inspiring, or him trying to be warm and gooey. I'm going to show you a few clips of him trying to be warm and gooey and twinkly-eyed on a podcast. I've got a direct message from Tommy Robinson. It'll hit you between the eyes with a brick, and a couple of other clips here and there that we're going to talk about. So yes, before we get going, though, what I love about this community, what I love about Coffee Moaning is it's a two-way street. LBC have Lewis Goodall. I'm presuming and hoping. Can someone quickly check? Actually, I can check whilst I'm on air. I won't turn the volume up. Let's just check that James O'Brien is currently on. Let's just see. Oh, he's there. He's there. Good. And I'll explain what's going on there. Well, but what's of all the various manifestations and aspects and flecks of horror that are sort of, you know, it's like a fire. It's like someone's got into a kind of fireworks shop and set all the fireworks off. Which part of all of the horrors that are going on at the moment are getting to you the most? I mean, like, for example, thank you for sharing, you know, the guy with the private eye cartoon is then arrested for supporting a prescribed terrorist organization. What part of it all, you know, what thing have you seen that's just made you, oh my God? Because sometimes it can be the most incidental thing. I mean, you know, one can watch the Knesset demand annexation. You can watch, you know, Gaza Humanitarian Foundation's soldiers shooting pepper spray and killing people and all this stuff. You know, the most awful footage yesterday of the 5, 6, 7, a tangle of children on the floor of a hospital, one with its entrails hanging out, the others just screaming and crying. And then it might be something so weird that just triggers you, like David Mencer just sat there looking like a villain from Star Trek circa 1976. What's getting you? Stormbreaker asks, anyone pick up on the Goldman Sachs announcement yesterday? Now, I haven't looked, but would hazard a guess it's Zionist-owned, thinly veiled threat to the UK financial system. Stormbreaker, that's a tease and a half. No, I haven't picked up on the Goldman Sachs announcement yesterday. Yes, she is, Tony. Starving children, Julie Neary. Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely. James O'Brien, Lamia Safia had to apologize for something he read out the other day. We're going to talk about that in a moment. Sarah D, for me, it was the documentary. That was a hard watch, still thinking about it now. The medics documentary, the documentary that they were allowed to play. Donald Trump coming to Scotland, Laura Lou, turns my stomach. I don't know why he would turn your stomach, Laura. I'm sure he's got a lot of space for you. He's got a tiny space. He's got a big space. It's a beautiful space for Laura Lou. Absolutely. Neem Hay, the children, skin and bone, being starved, knowing the food and aid is sitting at the border. It's the cruelest of catastrophes, isn't it? It's the cruelest of humanitarian disasters. Jordan, the country, have announced that 36 trucks have managed to unusually enter the north part of Gaza today, which is great news, you know. I mean, what you have to bear in mind, though, is that prior to October the 7th, 65% of the Gazan population were kind of in the foothills of malnutrition anyway. No Gazan for something like 25 years has had adequate water, or has drunk the required water, the basic required water for a human. I mean, they want to say it's not an apartheid. It's not actually a concentration camp. Z Studio, there is a connection with Zionists and Islamophobia. Yeah, I think there is. Adrian Waters, it's nice to hear what you've got to say. I feel very frustrated by people around me, thank you, who come out with anything pro-Israel. Your channel keeps me informed every day, so I thank you both for that. And Adrian Waters, I imagine what must be really difficult for you now is, you know, and this is why it's important that, okay, it feels like maybe the front of papers like the Daily Express, they're coming to it late and all that. Yeah, that's a debate to be had. But as this imagery and as the famine and as the situation kind of extends, and just bear with me one second, I've just realized I haven't got my lead. Nearly there, coming back. Don't want to run out of battery, do we? It feels almost impossible that you could see what's currently being shown in the most sort of legitimate legacy media locations and still be supportive of Israel, which is why I'm going to show David Mencer, because I think what's interesting about Sky News, Mark Austin, grilling David Mencer and David Mencer's pushback is that we're afforded a glimpse of the incredibly sort of limited, kind of scripted, brainwashed, rigid thinking that the Israeli government either believes or the propaganda that they're trotting out. So I think it's probably best if we start with him, because I find this man, I'm just going to pop him up just for a moment. Pause it quickly. This guy here, David Mencer, in the spirit of transparency, this is the guy that, you know, Netanyahu trots out for a chinwag with the British press, and he sits there and he says the same thing. He's got that sort of prep school kind of, you know, sort of, you know, don't ask me questions, and you know, and he's kind of he's kind of Westernish in his tone and in his language. And of course, he was actually the head of the Labour Friends of Israel. Oh my God, Christ. So the most advocate, outspoken man justifying and gaslighting the world regarding Israel's genocide used to be David Lammy's chief of staff and campaigned for Lammy to run for London mayor. Good God, Lammy, that could answer why you have such sort of wide-eyed panic. This guy was David Lammy's mate. I mean, it had to have been. I bet they had drinks together. Now, this guy, I feel for David Mencer. Sounds astonishing because I think he's trapped. He's trapped in a glass cage of emotion. It's called television. He's rolled out. I think a part of his soul and a part of his personality and his spiritual center just erodes with each time he's put on TV and pushes back and tries to claim that Sky News is somehow a Hamas propaganda tool. You know he's lost his shit when he thinks Sky News has lost its Hamas propaganda. But let's just have a listen, because one of the things about this is it's intolerable to listen to. It's unforgivable to hear. It's just immeasurably awful to think that you can still be trotting out what some of these people are trotting out. But sometimes we need to understand what's driving these people. What's driving those who, as you rightly said just a moment ago, who can still say, well, Israel are enacting, they're engaging in self-defense. And what this guy, who looks like in Star Trek, when Captain Kirk, on the Starship Enterprise, they'd fly in and then they'd be caught in a kind of, I don't know, a sort of force field of a ship, and they'd be like, is it enemy, sir? And Spock would be like, and then they connect with it. Comes in on the kind of television, and we all look up. I mean, as a kid, I used to love this. There's fucking Captain Kirk, the only fucking captain of a spaceship that's got a fucking armchair. Presses the button, up it comes, villain from another planet, alien villain, David Mencer. Here he is. Anyway, let's play it. Let's have a listen.
There is no famine in Gaza. There is a famine of the truth.
Oh, I reckon he wrote that one down just before it came on air. There's no famine in Gaza. There's only a famine of the truth. Oh, what a line, David Mencer. Yeah, but the famine in Gaza is the one that you've created. And the famine of truth is also one you've created, David, because you won't let any journalists in. Such a simple one. Famine in Gaza. Yes, clever, neat. Got to give you 10 out of 10. Prep school boy for getting that little fucking clever one written down there, David. But actually, it's about you. Both of them are about you. Both are about you.
There is no famine in Gaza. There is a famine of the truth, and Israel will not stop telling it. 87 million meals, 1.8 million tons of aid, which we facilitated, aid right. Getting in. Hamas loots, it starves its own people, and the world looks away. We open new routes to right. Deliver food and medicine. Hamas blocks them and
okay, so you're just getting a sense of how everything is always Hamas's fault. Let's not forget, Israel is an occupying force. They have an international obligation to feed, look after, protect the population of Gaza. And because the moniker, because the tag of Hamas, it's such a neat propaganda tool. It's entirely equivalent to war on terror, because war on terror has no boundaries, has no definition, has no uniform, has no. So, Hamas being everywhere is great. It's great. I mean, I'd be curious to know how Israel would feel, the government of Israel, if everyone that was killed in Israel was killed simply because they said the IDF. Everyone served in the IDF. I mean, Hamas are a proscribed terrorist organization, but they were also the elected group to run Gaza. Whether the West like it, whether Israel like it, that's not contentious. That's fact. Let's go back to the arch villain that's just got us in a force field.
Fires from them, and then cries to an all too willing Sky News, all too willing, to the cameras when civilians are hurt.
Right. Why don't you provide security then? Why don't you provide security then for the UN to get those supplies into Gaza. You can't say, here's the point, you can't say on the one hand that the
Omar.
Gaza Humanitarian Foundation is now distributing the aid in Gaza, and then when it's a disaster, with up to 1,000 people shot dead, you start blaming the UN.
Mark?
You start blaming the UN for causing hunger. I mean, it's simply nonsense.
Hamas. The media shows pictures of hungry people, but won't say the words that matter. Hamas stole their food. Hamas caused their suffering. Hamas turned charity into a billion-dollar racket. Just like mafia, they steal the aid, they sell it on the black market, and they're hoarding it for their own terrorist fighters, recruiting killers with that money. So when we have disrupted that pipeline of theft, Hamas saw Israel as a threat to their business model, not their people's salvation. So we've attacked the terrorists while Hamas put civilians in harm's way.
Right, but who is being shot dead? Who is being shot dead? Who is being shot dead when people go to get the food?
Points the finger at.
So the reason I wanted to play you that insufferable clip, he then goes on to, Marcos is very good, he then goes on to say, but so tell us about the kind of bulldozing of 92% of property in Gaza. That doesn't suggest that, and the claim, now, I think it's really important. What you're dealing with in government officials like him and Netanyahu and advocates and supporters of Israel still in this country is you are dealing with a fanaticism. You're dealing with an extraordinary fanaticism that is as undealable with, I'm just going to move you because the computer's getting a bit hot, that's as undealable with as fanaticism in any other religion or faith. I mean, it's true fanaticism. And you can't deal with rabid, propagandized, brainwashed thoughts. Now, everyone would get into a very meaningful and intricate and honest conversation about the ways in which Hamas does and doesn't work for the Gazan people, the ways in which resistance needs to be formalized in some way. In what ways can Palestinians, defend their families, defend their businesses, like in the West Bank? I mean, if you don't have any sort of organized armed resistance or military of your own, what happens is what's happening in the West Bank. The one thing that Israel can't claim is that Hamas are the problem in the West Bank. And the West Bank presents the kind of, if you like, the Achilles heel to this constant ladling out of it's Hamas, it's Hamas, it's Hamas. Because that can be just trotted out time. And I mean, you've got to, when you deal with it, it's actually a very tricky one to deal with. And they know that, these government officials, the Labour Friends of Israel, they all know that it's a very tricky one, that. But isn't it interesting that it's a tricky one, the Hamas, because Israel has radicalized generation after generation by killing them and genociding them. I mean, one thing is for sure, and it doesn't take a clever psychoanalyst to work this one out. This conflict, it's not a war, this genocide will have radicalized an entire new generation. If Israeli citizens felt unsafe before October the 7th, they're going to feel a hell of a lot unsafer even if they bulldoze the Gaza Strip and build the Gaza Riviera with Trump. I promise you, this ain't going away. You don't destroy in this fashion unless, and this is the concern, and this is what it feels like with Israel, unless you go for a completionist approach, i.e. you eradicate and you remove. Me too. Israel's calculation is that they can kill all 2 million Palestinians within 30 years. It's as cynical as that. And you will forever hear the defenders of Israel will forever say that hospital went up because of Hamas. I mean, it's such a get out of jail card phrase, but it means nothing. It doesn't speak to the way in which you should conduct any kind of conflict at all. You don't kill innocents. If you can be as precise with your military hardware as Israel has proven they can be in Iran and in Syria and etc., then you don't need to be killing as many as you're killing. You can't kill an ideology. You can't kill unfortunately, a generationally baked in traumatic sense of resistance to someone who's been fucking horrible to you. It's like, you know, if you want to continue with the animal analogy, if Israel only thinks of Palestinians as animals, what animal is going to return and sleep at the feet of an owner that has destroyed its entire family? Just going to show you some footage. This is bizarre. This is the Daily Telegraph, another extraordinarily right-wing paper carrying a story about, well, you can kind of understand why with this one. Telegraph running a story about Israeli settlers burning the West Bank's last Christian town. In fact, the point here isn't it interesting that they will feature a story about burning the last Christian town, but they won't feature a story or as many stories about the untold destruction that settlers are doing. But I'm just going to show you this footage just to remind us of what's going on.
On July 7th, residents of West Bank's last Christian majority town of Taibe filmed as armed Israeli settlers set ablaze around their most sacred site, the ruins of the 5th century Church of St. George. The footage, which was shared with the Telegraph, shows men approaching with leaf blowers, appearing to use them to fan the flames closer to the church.
I mean, that requires a particular level of gardening malice, doesn't it? I'm going to get my leaves blower and we can fan the flames. I mean, fucking hell. Let's go and get some leaf blowers and burn down that Christian temple. These are the people spilling all over the West Bank. And it's about the West Bank that this vote happened in the
הכנסת קיבלה בשעה טובה כעת הצהרה היסטורית התומכת בהחלת ריבונות ישראלית על חבלי המולדת יהודה ושומרון. זוהי זכות גדולה להיות יושב ראש הכנסת שאומרת בקול ברור
So this is the Knesset. If you're listening, the subtitles are the Knesset has approved at this time of a historic motion supporting the establishment of Israeli sovereignty over the territories of Judea and Samaria, which is what they call the West Bank, because of course they're all tied to a fictional publication called the Bible, which is you know, sorry to be a party poop, but I find the narrators of the Bible unreliable. So yeah, and look at this in the center of the government here. They voted. It's a great privilege to be a member of the Knesset. There's Netanyahu looking sort of smug and satisfied and rubbing the sweat from his top lip, probably because he's still got a bit of food poisoning, shaking people's hands. This is our land, he says. This is our land. This is our home. The land of Israel belongs to the people of Israel. Interestingly, if you actually go back to the Bible says the land of Israel should be the whole. Israel should be a land for everyone, which is curious because they can't. Fucking hell, Israel, man. I tell you what, Israel, and I apologize to Israelis here because this isn't a Jewish thing at all. This isn't anti-Semitism. We could all be I don't like Denmark's attitude to certain things. Doesn't mean I don't like the Danish. I can't stand Trump. Doesn't mean I don't like all Americans. But I tell you what, Israel's policy in Gaza, not very many people are going to like Israel. It's curious, isn't it, that they don't care. They just so don't care. Don't get me going on the Samson project. So yeah, so settlers, leaf blowers. Who wants to be repulsed with a moment with Benjamin Netanyahu? Can anyone cope with it? Here we go.
Burger King. We did the double,
Whopper?
I
haven't ripped Burger King in a long time.
Yes, this is right. We've got Benjamin Netanyahu talking about whether he prefers Burger King or McDonald's whilst Gaza starves. I hate to say it. I think he deserved to get some kind of food poisoning for this kind of gross, crass, amoral, immoral. But of course, what you've got to understand is, in his head, it's all Hamas's fault. He's not worried that McDonald's are launching a new range of Hamas burgers. But yeah, listen to this. Afterwards, we've got the news agents commenting on this clip because it's quite unbelievable.
Burger King. We did the double, You know,
Whopper?
I haven't ripped Burger King in a long
it's
time.
not.
Burger
called
King kind of
something.
sucks.
Yeah.
No, you're wrong.
The BK Lounge can hit.
I disagree completely.
You like Burger King over McDonald's?
That's your worst take.
That's Bibi Netanyahu taking time out from his busy schedule to chat to podcasters about his favourite fast food. It's pretty obscene, given the number of Gazans now starving to death just the other side of that Israeli border.
And it's hard not to find it utterly jarring to hear the talk of your preference between a Big Mac and a Whopper. 1,000 people, according to the aid agencies, have now died while queuing to get food.
Okay, I mean, nothing they've now got to say is new, but it's unbelievable, isn't it? It's like the zone of interest, but multiplied by 20. It's like the zone of interest in social media land. I mean, it really does make you realize that the reason this is, going back to quoting Wallace Shawn, voiceover artist of the dinosaur in Toy Story and playwright and actor, when he said this is worse in many ways than the Holocaust, because to some extent the Germans knew they needed to conceal it from public eyes because it was so awful. This is not only not being concealed, it's being telegraphed, promoted, publicized, loudspeakered. But yes, the part of the, you're absolutely right. This is Netanyahu trying to make out he's a gooey, sort of, you know, twinkly-eyed, avuncular chap. Here's another moment with him.
Tough job, but why do you think you're like so hated worldwide?
Well,
because you're an evil scumbag, maybe. I don't know. It's just
a lot of propaganda. The Chancellor of Germany said Israel did the work for all of us. The new Chancellor of Germany, okay, because those Iranian missiles were geared at Europe too, and ultimately at America. The question you have to ask is not why do they hate me or President Trump, is why don't they see reality? What?
Oh, God. God. Of course. Why don't they see reality, BB? Because you don't let anyone in to see reality, BB. He's a hideous man, isn't he? I mean, I've literally vomited out of every part of myself. You just haven't seen it because it's been every other part of myself. He's just hideous. It's just, it's so creepy. It's so sinister. He may as well have a cat on his lap that he's kind of stroking like that and going. I mean, it's so spine-tinglingly creepy.
What's good for them? And the answer is most of them do if you tell them the facts. But how do you tell them the facts over TikTok?
I don't think it's the Iran thing. The main thing I just see is if I don't think people like if civilians are getting injured or killed.
We don't want it either.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a relief. Oh, good. It's a shame it's not happening. So yeah, it's just unforgivable. Unforgivable. I just want to quote Danny Dyer from EastEnders about Keir Starmer. He's a fucking non-entity. I feel sorry for the people when he goes to a factory and they put these poor people behind him and you can tell they all hate his guts. We need a leader. He's not a leader. I don't know what the fuck he is. He's only in power because the Tories were such, apologies, CUNTs. Sometimes you need to hear it from people like the Dalai Lama, people of a spiritually healing sort of hue, those who are dedicated to a life of kind of centered calm, chilledness, and namaste. Thus, Danny Dyer. Other bits and bobs that caught my attention. Nate Bear says, anti-Semitism used to be when you denied a Holocaust. Now it's when you don't support one. Clever and true. I think that's a good one. Screenshot that, share it. I like that one. Asal Rad, Amnesty International, Israel is deliberately starving Palestinians. Doctors Without Borders, Israel is deliberately starving Gaza. UN expert, Israel is deliberately starving, killing children. Human Rights Watch, Israel engineered mass starvation. The media, Gaza food crisis spreads. Yes, and it's an interesting and important point. Yes, the Daily Express carried an image of a horrendously and traumatizingly awful image of a child starving. But that doesn't necessarily mean, once again, there's a tendency to show this footage, name it, talk about it, so that these publications can say they've talked about it, but they still kind of don't hold Israel responsible, or they certainly don't hold the fire to Israel's feet. Much of the Telegraph, the Express, the right-leaning press here will argue the same argument, which is it's Hamas's fault for not agreeing to a ceasefire. It's Hamas's fault for embedding themselves in 92% of all the buildings in Gaza. When you as a nation, Israel, have funded Hamas, have had a vested interest in Hamas and the ideology, when you've kind of removed the prospects, hope, ambitions, dreams, and ability to live a meaningful and dignified life for the Palestinians, and then you are kind of surprised that they turn to extremist measures, it's very easy to then claim that everyone in Palestine is Hamas. That's not the problem. Even if everyone in Palestine was Hamas, that doesn't give you the right to kill them all. It's as simple as that. And when we've lost the plot here, even Superman says, even those terrorists and people who are willing to do bad things, you don't just have an obligation to kill everyone en masse. You just you can't demand that right. You don't have that right. Oh, do you want to hear? Okay, so neo-Nazis. Why have we got the neo-Nazis summer of discontent? Police are not ready for a potential summer of discontent, summer of unrest. Days and days of protests again against mass migration outside asylum hotels. Neo-Nazis are leading the Epping hotel protests, calling for a nationwide action. False claims about migrant relocations have fueled demonstrations in Epping and now Canary Wharf, encouraged by a far-right group called Homeland. Does anyone know if Homeland is a proscribed terrorist organization? Not all of them are neo-Nazis, dear heart, but some of them are. That's the point. No, you're absolutely right. Some are just good old English people concerned about their kids. The only part that I don't understand when I see people, and please, I'm genuinely asking, when people hold up signs saying, protect our children, part of the story here is I think an Ethiopian migrant is accused or has been accused of sexually assaulting a 14-year-old, which is fucking awful. But when you hold up the sign saying protect our children, is that protect our children only against sexual assault from migrants? Or are you saying protect our children from everyone, even white men, who I think on the last analysis, white men conduct most sexual assaults in the country? It kind of makes sense. That it's at the moment, it's a sort of indigenous demographic, isn't it? Do you get me? I'm just always curious to know whether those who don't say, I get it, they're not far right, they're not neo-Nazis, but they're saying protect our kids. And that's a great thing to say, because we all want to, I think everyone wants to protect their kids. But is that only from migrant sexual assaulters, or is it from all sexual assaults? I'm just curious, because actually statistically, there are many more white male sexual assaulters than there are migrant ones, and they should all be rounded up and they should all be punished. And if they're migrants, they should be sent back to their countries, and if they're white men, they should be sent to prison. I mean, and if people holding that up mean that about everyone, then I just don't understand why they're only outside hostels for migrants. Do you get me? And also outside hostels where there aren't any immigrants or migrants, because apparently they've got it wrong. That's all I'm asking. So I get you. I think it was Dearhart who said, so I get you. Not everyone who's concerned about migration is a neo-Nazi. Absolutely not. Many people who vote for reform, they're not neo-Nazis, of course. You can have migrant concerns and you're not a neo-Nazi. Some of us can only feel control by fighting for what's close to home. No. Okay, I totally understand, good ship lollipop, and I understand that it sort of breeds an intolerance of talking about conflicts in faraway lands. But when you have conflicts in faraway lands, that throws migrants who want to come over here. It's a kind of responsibility for blowing up other people's countries. But when they're here, do you get me? Are we as annoyed? Are we as vocal about white men assaulting children and young underage people, the Epstein files? Are we as outraged Or are they slightly more protected than we are? Is there a distinction? Is it worse? Why is it worse? How can you have a worst? Protect our kids, protect our kids. And that's my point. My worry, if I dig into it, is that the protect our kids, as MeTube says, is a cover for racism. And until if I saw that same person with a protect our kids, I don't know, outside a prison or outside a kind of court where white men had been pulled in, that'd be good. I'd support them. Be like, yeah, good on you. Here's some footage from the incidents that are going on. People have protested outside the Britannia International Hotel in Canary Wharf after false claims that migrants were being held there. Rumours claim migrants being held at the Bell Hotel in Epping were moved to the Britannia. There you go, their fight to protect our children was one we must fight together. I just want to know if he's fighting for them. Is he fighting for our children, not outside migrant hostels and hotels? Because if he isn't, I think this is a cover for racism. Does anyone agree? It's just I'd have a chat with him. He looks like a nice chap. I don't mind having a chat with him. It's good to see, fist punching and all that kind of stuff. That's all good. So we stand together. Yeah, they're all going to stand together.
It's more of a sign as we all one together.
There's another one. Keep our children safe. Great. Totally agree. Couldn't disagree more with the sentiment. But if you're only standing outside hostels with this, and I'll repeat it, statistically, the vast majority of assaults on children in this country happen by British people. It's just got to be a fact just by sheer numbers. If he's standing outside sort of family courts and courtrooms with this sign, full on, mate, I'm with you. I get it. What do you think, DR? Do you think that this could be just a sign, it's kind of I'm not a racist but type thing? I don't know. It's just a thought. Just asking.
You're with them!
I think are they screaming that sort of Jewish term of racism that's chanted a lot, anti-Semitic chant that's chanted a lot at Tottenham fans. I think they are. That's what's happening in the background there, which is curious because I thought there was a tie-up between the far-right organisations and the Israeli far-right too. So that's a curious contradiction as well. It's a bit argy-bargy. So yeah, I'm sure that guy there remonstrating with the police is saying two-tier this, two-tier that, and all that kind of stuff. It could kick off. It looks like it could kick off. And what you need in a situation like that is Danny Dyer. As soon as it's about to kick off, you need Danny Dyer there. I mean, he's about the only one you need to. Yeah, the UK is a tinderbox, but I don't think for all the reasons that some people are suggesting necessarily. But yeah, here's Tommy Robinson.
On the 13th of September.
Taking a shit.
Let me tell you what you need to do.
Take a bigger shit.
You need to take that one day and you need to unite with people from across Britain. In fact, across the world, as they descend on central London. Why are we doing it? We're doing it to celebrate free speech.
I'm almost moved. I'm almost moved to celebrate free speech. Poor fucker. Free speech, as long as it's your speech and no one else's speech.
Off and fed up of the total of erosion of our...
The total of erosion. I'm so fed up with the total of erosion. Really am.
Our identity and...
What is our culture? When this is thrown out, I really want to know, what is this culture that we're talking about? Is that our culture? What is our culture? I really want to know. I don't understand I literally don't know what people mean when they say our culture is being eroded. What does it mean? What does it actually mean? I mean, honestly, let's ask the question. Yeah, me too. Just because there's a Sikh guy there doesn't mean all that means is that Sikh guy doesn't realize it's being used by the It's all so stupid. What? But being serious though, because this guy's obviously getting his knickers in a twist. He's giving himself hemorrhoids. Let's have another look.
Speech of them dictating what we can and can't say, attacking us, slandering us, demonising us, silencing you, making you too afraid to even say what you think.
He's definitely going to give himself piles, isn't he? They say our culture is fish and chips and wet weather, which apparently you have to be white to enjoy Wonder Woman. That's funny, isn't it? Because I love fish and chips, but sometimes I don't. More often than not, I notice a Chinese or an Indian is probably our most popular food, or a kebab at the end of a night. I agree, Claire Mack. Place incites hate. I've got to go, guys. Take care, Tony. Send him back to Israel. Yeah, if he likes it there. I mean, did you notice the Israeli flags in there? It's such a curious contradiction, isn't it? Far right, fascist, neo-Nazi, Zionism. Oh, there must be a connection. I always remember my politics tutor saying that the political spectrum goes so far around, it reaches the same place on the other side. So, oh, Tommy, I know. I mean, I feel for him because he's really got his knickers in a tangle.
That's how they've had us for a generation. And people are finally now waking up. There has been a mass awakening.
Now, a mass awakening, he's frighteningly close to sort of saying that he's awoken. He wants Britons to awake. He wants awokenness. And in awoke is woke. So Tommy Robinson's actually saying here that he's woke. I think that's quite refreshing. If he wants to awaken us, then we all need to waken up. We all need to be awoken.
Trust me, I see it as I walk through the streets. No matter where I go, people are awake. They know the truth. They know the media lie. They know that those 650 traitors in Parliament do not represent them.
Wow. Do you notice was he having to hold himself up? I think he was holding himself up with a flagpole.
650 traitors in Parliament do not represent.
Yeah, he's holding himself up with a flagpole. Thank God that flagpole was there. I was worried he was going to go through those bay windows, didn't you? I've got a feeling at the end of this, he's going to explosively fart. Such a Union Jack fart is going to blow the windows out.
Them. They do not care about you. What can we do by demonstrating? That's what lots of people ask me.
I don't know what we can do, Tommy. I mean, I think we all need to turn to people like you. I mean, at the end of the day, you're articulating all of our worst fears and suppressed anxieties. I think 500,000 people descending on London will be enough. I think that will do it. I think we are heading towards a summer of discontent.
What difference does it make? Let me tell you what it's going to do. We're going to bring 250,000, 500,000 people, patriots, to the capital city. We're going to send a message to the establishment, to the world. The whole of Europe is going to be watching London on the 13th September. People across the world, what message do you want to send them? That Britain is awake.
Okay. Oh, Julie, you used to love this channel. I don't think you did. I don't think you could have done. If you love Tommy Robinson, I don't think you could have loved this channel, sweetie. I used to love this channel, but it's so one-sided. He's a good bloke looking out for our country. I can't listen to this slagging off anymore. Sweetie, I don't think there's anything surprising about our position. So if you have been a follower of the channel for years, let us help you along on your way. Why don't we? Hey, shall we? Do you like a little nudge out? You don't have to do it yourself. We can do it. Bing! Go on. There you go. Anyway. Oh. Would you, what's that? Tamara Carlin, would you be able to do a live about the hotel in Canary Wharf and so forth? Well, apparently there's no one there. I mean, it is going to kick off. It is going to kick off. And my worry when I look at Tommy, he's obviously, he's passionate. And the important thing, we've said it many times, despite what the previous so-called long-term fan was that never gathered that we would possibly in any way be anti-Tommy Robinson. Tommy Robinson's big enough and butch enough to cope with people like us disagreeing with him. I don't think he'd be threatened, would he? I mean, at the end of the day, he's quite smart in his own sort of, patriotic fashion. you know, it is going to kick off. I think we've got a major problem on our hands. And I think one of the things that one has to try and understand is why people feel disenfranchised. And I would argue that what he's speaking about, that 250,000 that suddenly jumps to 500,000 that may well turn up in London, they feel the same sense, rightly or wrongly, the same sense of being gagged as many of those, for example, who are protesting on behalf of Palestine. I think in a weird way, there is the capacity and the ability to bridge all political persuasions, because I think what the frustration that's being felt by the vast majority of ordinary folk of different political persuasions, what the vast majority are feeling is a disconnect and an inability of the governing classes to represent us, whether it be on the left or whether it be on the right. And I think that's the problem. And I think that's why there is this curious kind of ability for Labour voters or to pivot to reform, or traditionally Labour voters to pivot to reform and to pivot back. I think there is a sense of people needing to be heard. And part of that, hearing part of that, is what the perceptions are of migrant populations, etc. You know, there needs to be education. We need to remind people, young people, that without a migrant population, the NHS wouldn't have existed, our educative system wouldn't exist, our care homes wouldn't exist. Major parts of our economy would not exist without migrants. And, you know, I think one has to look at the richness of cultural diversity rather than just saying we are this. Because I actually, when I push comes to shove and I try and work out what is British culture, I really, as a, you know, I'm the most British in my family, go to my DNA. I'll more than happily share that with you, Tommy. But I struggle to know what British is. Is that because I've stopped drinking? I mean, I suppose having a pint in your pub, that's quite British. Is that it, though? Is that it? Anyway, guys, do subscribe. Do follow the channel. A vlog is landing later. Lots of silliness, lots of family members in it, all being silly. If you believe the messaging of people like Robinson, you are falling into the Overton window, me too. We'll discuss that in more detail, actually. Guys, have a good day. Do share this live. Do share parts of it. Screen record. Disseminate it. Keep spreading the message. Keep pushing back, writing to your MPs and demanding that they oppose the Israeli genocide and the annexation of the West Bank. Where come on, where is everyone? We need to hear you now.